I want to refer again to that GT retreat, that retreat I did in the context of Labor Day weekend, because there's a lot to it. And so even though I was the main speaker, the conferences were supplemented by workshops. And I didn't attend any of the workshops, except for one. It was done by Sister Orianne from the Daughters of St. Paul. So just to paraphrase, what she said was like, I want you to think about someone that you follow on social media, someone maybe you follow in the context of the internet. And I want you to compose a prayer for that person. Even though obviously I pray, and I pray for other people, I pray for various intentions, I realized in that moment I don't typically do this. I don't typically invite the Holy Spirit into my mind and my heart to inform the composition of my particular prayer for this person, which makes all the difference in the world. And so once I did, all sorts of thoughts and ideas and inspirations came. Say this, not that. Use this word choice as opposed to that. Pray for this intention as opposed to that. The juices were just flowing, right? And that stayed with me throughout the course of the retreat. On Sunday night, we had this period of adoration. And before that, I was talking to a young lady. And she was basically saying, like, even though I knew I had major wounds in my past involving my family and my parents, all of a sudden it's really hitting me how significant and how weighty these things actually are. And I said to her, you know what, I just got this feeling that this issue you just raised is going to be resolved a lot sooner than you might think. So with that, we began the period of adoration. And the organizing committee, they asked me to do something kind of special. So they said, okay, Father, this is something we do every year at the GT retreat. So we want you to take the monstrance to every single person and just give them a moment with the Blessed Sacrament. I'm like, oh, how long? They're like 30 seconds. How big is this monstrance? And he showed me. It wasn't even like a full monstrance. It was like a chapel monstrance. And most of it weighed like 2 pounds. I thought, well, how hard can that be? Apparently, really hard. 2 pounds times 30 seconds times 140 participants. My back was on fire. And I was like crying. People thought it was because of my devotions to the Lord. It was not. And all of a sudden I came across this girl. It didn't come right away, but then all of a sudden it did. This image of this person, what does she want? What does God want for her? Okay, pray in this way. Next morning, I was talking to her in the cafeteria. She came up to me and she said, you know, Father, that thing I was laboring with for years, it's just gone. I'm like, oh, I'm just curious. When did that happen? Adoration. The retreat, as you might expect, ended with Mass. And again, the organizing committee had a really neat idea. So they said, well, what we typically do, Father, is that we end the closing Mass with a commissioning ceremony. So there's you and there's the other priests, and basically at the end of Mass, people come up and you lay your hands over them for like 10 seconds. And you pray in silence in your mind, however you wish to pray. And I gotta admit, initially it was, a very generic thing. And after a while, I thought, you know what, I think we can do better. So I thought about it, prayed about it, and then the prayer became this. Lord, I pray this person in front of me may be happy and joyful and free. Free of anxiety, free of worry, free of fear. I pray that all their hopes and dreams may come true. I pray they might realize all their deepest desires. I pray the fruits of this retreat will come to blossom in their hearts in your own way, in your own time. And most importantly, Lord, I pray that all your dreams for this person will come true. They had a microphone, open mic situation, say what you want about your experience at the retreat. And one girl came up and she said, I gotta admit, I slept for most of the retreat. And actually, to be honest, it's because I was afraid to engage with the thing. And so I missed all of Father Eric's talks. I missed the group discussions, and I missed the workshops. I attended Adoration, and I went to the closing Mass, and I saw the commissioning ceremony. And there's something about Father Eric's eyes where you can tell he loves us and he loves God. And that was it. It changed my heart. It changed my life. I realized then that God wasn't just changing how I prayed, He was changing me. He was changing my heart. Because now the idea was like, look, Lord, I want to see these people the way that you see them. All their hopes and dreams and deep desires. Yeah, their struggles and their woundedness, but their essential sense of goodness and holiness. And with that in mind, shape my prayers, inform my thoughts, and make my love real and authentic and true.